Hey everybody, my name is Cindy. Welcome to my page, The Flatbed Chick. Today we're going to talk about advice to new drivers. I had someone leave a comment on my YouTube page asking if I had advice for new female drivers. Well, I don't really have a lot of specific advice for just female drivers. Basically everything I have to say would apply to male and female. If there's something specific that you're looking for, there's tons of videos on YouTube talking about, stuff like feminine hygiene or safety out here as a woman in trucking. But to me, safety applies to everybody. It's not just for females. So I got a whole list here, so you know how it goes. I can't remember all this stuff, so I'm going to be looking down at my cheat sheet. So I'll start at the top. To me, number one is CYA, cover your you-know-what. Nobody cares as much about you as you. No one's going to be watching your butt like you are. So, always cover your butt. Do what it takes to protect you. This is your job. It is your livelihood. I'm assuming you plan on doing it for a very long time. Do not let people push you into doing something that you'll regret later. Do not do anything unsafe. It's real simple. Protect yourself. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to report someone who is pushing you to drive unsafe or do anything that is unethical or illegal. Don't believe everything you hear. There's all kinds of horror stories about trucking, as well as just random misinformation. Always check it out for yourself. Do your research. If you've heard something that doesn't sound quite right or it's intriguing and you want to know more, research it. Don't just take it at face value. Always be aware of your surroundings, and like I said, that goes for everybody, man, woman. I don't care if you're tall, short, weigh 450 pounds and look like a linebacker, or if you're just a little petite thing. You always need to be aware of your surroundings. I have a friend that has a friend, I don't know him personally, that just got robbed at gunpoint not too long ago. This can happen to anybody. So always be aware of your surroundings and protect yourself. Especially if it looks like a shady area, just assume it is. I learned this the hard way. Don't be afraid to call the police and ask for help. Like, I got lost. I got off the interstate, went into the truck stop, and when I came out of the truck stop, they had all these detour signs up leading you back to the interstate. You couldn't go back the same way you got off the interstate. So I missed a turn. I don't know if the sign fell down or whatever. I missed a turn and I ended up in town with all these signs that say no trucks. Everywhere I looked it said no trucks. So I called the police department, not 911. Find out the local police number. Call the regular police number, not 911. I have to emphasize that this is not an emergency line. So I called the local police. The dispatcher there she was very nice, very helpful. She took her time, found out exactly where I was, and she led me back to the highway, told me where to turn, and got me right back on the interstate. She was awesome. This is another safety related one. Avoid getting out of the truck in a dark parking lot. If it's late at night and the only place you found to park is in the very back of this parking lot and they don't have hardly any lights back there, it's totally dark, you can't hardly see anything, take care of your business at the fuel aisle before you park. If you know you're going into a dark parking lot, get everything done that you need to do before you park, and do not get out of your truck until morning. You don't know where you are most of the time, especially if you're new. You're not going to know where you are, if it's a good area, bad area, etc. And it's just, you don't want to be walking around in the dark by yourself anyway. When you're backing into a spot and you get out and look, which you should always do, even if you're not a newbie, I always recommend, if you have any doubts at all, get out and look. Don't walk between two trucks. And if you're doing your post trip and you're walking around your trailer to check your trailer, do not walk between the back of your trailer and the trailer behind you. You don't know if that guy in the other truck, he may release his brakes or roll backwards and you'd be crushed between the two trailers. Just don't ever walk between two trucks. It's not a good idea. Okay, hold on, wait a minute. I said I would probably have other things to add, and here I go. Here's my first one. After thinking about it overnight, not only should you not walk between two trucks that are backed up against each other, never walk behind a truck that's backing up, period. I don't care if they're backing into a parking spot or if they're backing into a loading dock, whatever the case may be. You know, if you're helping someone back up, do not ever step behind that truck. You don't know where their eyes are. They may be checking their mirrors when you step behind that trailer and they don't know where you're at. Don't assume that they do. Even if it's someone you're really close to, a spouse that you may be teaming with. You know, there are horrible, horrible things that have happened. You know, I don't even really want to talk about, but just don't ever walk behind a truck that's backing up, period. And I've said this in another video, I'll say it again here. Use your CB. You may not be able to use it on the trainer's truck, but once you get your own truck, you can definitely use it, and I recommend using your CB. Check the weather report along your route and plan accordingly. Whether that be leaving a little bit early, plan to park early to avoid bad weather, or just, you know, you're going into an area where it's snowing, it's been really cold, you're going up north, pack appropriate clothing, etc., etc. And that leads me to the next one, wear comfortable clothes. You're going to be sitting for a very long time. You need to wear comfortable pants. And I'm not saying wear sweatpants all the time. I know there's a lot of haters out there. Just wear something that is loose enough that it's going to be comfortable to be sitting in for a very long time. This is a big one to me. And I'm sorry, I'm holding my phone. My phone is on the charger, it's almost dead. Oh, that's a good workout for my arm. Let me switch arms. So, this is a big one for me, and it kind of really blew my mind when I started driving a truck. I just thought, you want tools in the truck. I mean, I have tools in my car. So as a newbie, as soon as I got my own truck and was assigned a truck, I got tools for the truck. And I met a lot of drivers that had absolutely no tools on it. I had people borrowing tools from me because they had absolutely none. So keep tools on the truck. I'm going to do another video on my recommended just basic bare necessities as far as tools go, but always keep some tools on the truck. Always keep a flashlight and gloves. Even as a company driver, you know, all the companies I work for said, don't mess with our truck, you're not a mechanic. We don't want you touching our truck. Well, okay, that's fine. If you're going to pay somebody to fix it, I'd rather you pay somebody to fix it, and I don't want to fool with it anyway. You're not going to pay me to fix it. But you should still be knowledgeable of the truck that you are driving. Learn as much about your equipment as you can. And not only the truck, but the trucking industry. You know, like I said before, this is your livelihood. You know, if you're serious about your job, learn about what's going on in the industry. It could have a major effect on you. So you want to know what's going on. So not only are you representing your company, but you're actually representing the entire trucking industry out there behind the wheel of one of these trucks. You know, cars go by, they see you driving a truck, you're just another truck driver. They don't really care what the name is on the side of the truck. You're a truck driver, so you're representing the entire industry. Be professional. Be a courteous driver. Be friendly. You know, just keep in mind, you have eyes on you. You are representing the industry. I have some other videos that you may want to watch if you haven't watched already. Questions for the trucking company recruiter. I have a part 1 and part 2 of that. I know it's kind of lengthy. I have a video on what to pack for orientation, some suggestions on that one. I have a video on CDL school, and I have a video that talks about maybe some of the negatives of getting into a truck you may not have thought about or that you really need to think about. It's called Come On Over to the Dark Side. And my number one from day one has always been put safety first. Above everything else, safety first. And another thing, as a newbie, even if you've driven like a big pickup truck and pulled a horse trailer or whatever, this is going to be a lot heavier than anything you've ever driven if you've never driven an 18-wheeler before. So for you're fully loaded, you're going to be 80,000 pounds. There are wide spots and shoulders that you can pull over and park a truck on. Even some of them, if they've been used frequently for truck parking, you can even park in the grass. You know, that's something you have to be very leery of. If you're pulling over on the side of the road, if you're out in the country and you break down or whatever, if you're pulling over to the shoulder and you see grass or even gravel, you don't know how soft that shoulder is and how much weight it can support. Always be leery of pulling over on the shoulder of the road. And that goes for, you know, pulling into a gravel parking lot or a dirt parking lot. And even some of the paved ones that have really huge potholes, if you go in there and it's been raining and there's a lot of mud puddles in the parking lot, take a look at this. This is a picture of Steve's friend who drove through a mud puddle not too long ago. And this is what happened to the front end of his truck when he got out of that mud puddle and checked the front end. It was not a pretty sight. Yeah, that's pretty bad just from driving through a mud puddle, right? You don't want that happening to you. Be very careful of where you're driving your truck. You know, I don't have anything specifically for female drivers other than if you're afraid people are going to walk all over you just because you're a female, or if you're afraid of being harassed just because you're a female. Just go back to my number one recommendation, CYA, cover your butt. You know, just don't let anybody push you around, and that goes for males too, male and female. And I'm sure there are other things I can think of. Okay, hold on, I got a couple more for you. Now, Steve thought that I was silly when I said I was going to mention this, but you know, it does sound like common sense, but when you first start driving a truck, you've never had a vehicle before that you have to pull a valve and release the brakes on. Well, maybe if you had like a manual transmission, you know, you got to pull the brake up, but most people just drive automatics and they're used to, you put it in park and it doesn't go anywhere. Well, not true in a truck. So, you know, get in the habit of every time you stop, pop the brakes. As soon as you stop at where you're going to, hit the brakes. Every time, hit the brakes, hit the brakes. Every time you stop, hit the brakes. So, you know, I've seen people in rest areas, they forgot to set the brakes and they rolled down into a ditch. You know, when I first started driving, I caught myself, you know, not hitting the brakes as soon as I stopped. Maybe like one instance I can definitely remember being at the consignee, looking down at my bills, and thank God there was nobody around, but I could actually feel the truck move. I looked up, the truck was rolling. You know, I was sitting there with my foot on the brake, but that's not good enough. Don't get in the habit of just sitting there with your foot on the brake. Pop the brake every time you stop. Now, don't use, you know, some of the trucks, especially the older ones, that has the trolley valve that you pull down and it will actually stay down, and don't get in the habit of using that as a parking brake. That's not what that is for. That will fail you and you will roll. Now, pop the brakes every time you stop. Sounds like common sense, but make it a habit. The other one is get in the habit of walking around your truck and trailer, you know, as a flatbed driver, I'm supposed to be checking my tires every time I stop anyway. So even if you're not in a flatbed, no matter what you drive, just make it a habit. It's a really good habit. Walk around your truck and trailer, look at your tires, look at your equipment. You know, a few years ago, I don't remember what company I was working at, but they had a flyer going around, supposedly of a team that worked for them that went to a rest area. I guess there's a lot of people there, and you know how it is, especially in the summer times, a lot of pedestrians, people everywhere at the rest areas. So they had come back out to their truck and they did their walk around, and they found a child in the wheel well of the steer tire, up over the top of the tire, wedged in there somehow. I don't know how she got there or why, crying her eyes out, this poor little girl. And thank God they did their walk around and looked at all the tires, because you know, if it would have been just the one guy got out on the driver's side and the child was on the passenger side and he didn't do a walk around, you know, that's a really scary thought. You know, do your walk around, not only to check your tires and your equipment. I even look under my trailer. A lot of the times I'll actually just bend over and look under your trailer. I've heard too many times here lately of people getting run over. I don't understand how it happens, but I do not want that on my conscience the rest of my life. So I've gotten a habit here lately. I'll look under my truck and my trailer. So anything to make it safer for everybody. Safety is number one. Remember, I said it in probably other videos, and I'll say it again, safety before anything else. I may do a part 2 later and extend or expand my list of things, but I have a lot of other videos that I plan on making, and I apologize that I haven't been doing a very good job. I actually have a list of videos that I was gonna make, and shoot, it is, let's see, I am up to 39 videos on my to-do list, so that would keep me busy for a very long time. I just need to make time and get those videos done. So actually, at that rate, I could do 2 a week and still have a long time before I had to think of some new ones, which I'm sure I will. But I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that answered some of your questions. Thanks again, you guys, for watching. As always, be safe out there. See you next time.